They say childhood is a time of laughter, sleepovers, and secret whispers shared between best friends. But for the Harper children, one night of innocent fun became a nightmare that would haunt a quiet suburban town forever. The horrors that unfolded behind the closed doors of a Maplewood home shattered not only a family but the illusion of safety in a community that believed it knew its neighbors. Tonight, we uncovered the Sleepover Murders, a story of innocence lost, darkness concealed, and evil lurking where it was least expected. On the night of September 14, 2023, 7-year-old Emily Harper and her 10-year-old brother Lucas were hosting their first sleepover. Two close friends, Mia and Jake, were invited over, laughter filling the Harper living room as pizza boxes and board games cluttered the floor. Their parents, Rachel and Thomas Harper, felt comfortable enough to trust that their children were safe in their own home, a house that had been their sanctuary for over a decade. But lurking in the shadows of Maplewood was Marcus Weller, a 34-year-old man who lived just 2 blocks away. To the world, Marcus appeared unremarkable, quiet, reserved, and largely unnoticed by his neighbors. Yet beneath this unassuming exterior lay a mind disturbed, obsessed, and increasingly violent. Emily Harper was described by her teachers as bright, curious, and compassionate, a child who loved animals, painting, and telling stories. Lucas, her older brother, was protective and playful, often helping younger classmates in school. Mia, a shy girl with a love for reading, had been Emily's best friend since kindergarten, and Jake, energetic and adventurous, brought laughter to every room he entered. Their families were pillars of the community, respected and trusted, unaware that the night ahead would irreversibly alter their lives. Marcus Weller had a history of isolation, social awkwardness, and disturbing obsessions. Psychologists later described him as having traits of narcissistic personality disorder and antisocial tendencies. A man who meticulously planned and fantasized about control and domination. Neighbors reported seeing him watching children from his window, taking notes in a small notebook, but no one suspected the darkness festering behind his calm facade. In the weeks leading up to the tragic night, Marcus had broken into a nearby vacant home to practice entry and exit strategies, refining a plan that would allow him to strike unnoticed. He studied the Harper household routine, knowing when the parents would be out, how many children were inside, and even the layout of the bedrooms. What started as an obsession quickly escalated into a terrifying determination. The night of September 14th seemed ordinary. The children giggled over horror stories, flashlight beams dancing across the walls. Emily, Lucas, Mia, and Jake didn't notice the shadow moving silently outside the window. By 10:15 p.m., Marcus had found a way inside. He disabled the alarm system and quietly crept through the hallways, his presence unnoticed until it was far too late. At 11:03 p.m., the unimaginable unfolded. Marcus attacked the children in their rooms, leaving a trail of chaos and horror. Emily and Mia were found in the living room, lifeless and cold, clutching their favorite stuffed animals. Lucas and Jake were discovered upstairs, their final moments marked by terror and confusion. The scene was described by investigators as apocalyptic, a household filled with shattered toys, overturned furniture, and evidence of a desperate struggle. When the Harper parents returned at midnight, they found a scene that no words could describe. Rachel called 911 in a voice trembling with disbelief. "Please, someone, my children, they're hurt." Police arrived within minutes, but Marcus had already fled the house. Canvassing the neighborhood and reviewing surveillance footage, detectives noticed a man matching Marcus's description leaving the area. Forensic teams meticulously documented every inch of the home, fingerprints, footprints, and traces of Marcus's clothing fibers. Interviews with neighbors revealed a chilling pattern. Marcus had been observed lurking near other children's homes for months. Authorities realized this was not a random attack, it had been meticulously planned. The investigation uncovered more than just the immediate crime. Marcus had kept detailed journals chronicling his obsession with the Harper family. Maps of the neighborhood, notes on children he deemed vulnerable, and strategies for evading law enforcement painted a portrait of a man consumed by a sinister fantasy. He had even begun documenting potential future targets. Marcus Weller was apprehended 3 days later, hiding in a nearby abandoned storage facility. The trial shocked the nation. Prosecutors presented damning evidence: journals, surveillance footage, and eyewitness testimonies. Defense attorneys argued mental instability, but the meticulous planning and clear intent were undeniable. After weeks of testimony, Marcus was convicted on 4 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. The community of Maplewood struggled to heal. Vigils were held for Emily, Lucas, Mia, and Jake, their lives celebrated amidst heartbreak. The Harper family, once a symbol of suburban normalcy, now lived in the shadow of tragedy. Psychologists noted that survivors of such events, both family members and friends, faced lifelong trauma, and resources were mobilized to provide counseling and support. Yet, even as Marcus was incarcerated, a lingering fear remained. Had investigators truly uncovered everything Marcus had planned? Was Marcus acting entirely alone, Or could there have been others aiding him from the shadows? Could this nightmare have been prevented if his behavior had been noticed earlier? And, most chillingly, how do families protect their children from predators hiding in plain sight? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your voice matters in remembering the victims and learning from this tragedy. But the story doesn't end here. Hidden in Marcus Weller's journals, investigators discovered cryptic references to other families, detailed maps, and coded notes suggesting that he may not have been acting entirely alone. Someone else could be out there, watching, waiting, planning the next move. What did Marcus mean by these messages? Who else could be involved? And could the horrors of that fateful night in Maplewood merely be the tip of a much darker iceberg? Just when a community thought the nightmare had ended, shocking new evidence surfaced. Marcus Weller, the man convicted of the Maplewood Sleepover Murders, had been hiding more than just his dark obsession. He had secrets that could turn the entire investigation on its head. The Harper children's lives were stolen in one terrifying night, and Marcus Weller was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. But months after his conviction, law enforcement discovered coded notes, cryptic maps, and references to other families in Marcus's journals. Investigators began to wonder, was Marcus truly acting alone? Or was there someone else orchestrating a shadowy plan behind the scenes? Among the journals, detectives found a list of names and addresses, children whom Marcus had studied obsessively. One name stood out, Sophie Langley, a 10-year-old girl who lived just 3 miles from the Harper residence. Sophie's life was ordinary: school, piano lessons, and weekend sleepovers. But according to Marcus's notes, she had unknowingly become part of a sinister map leading investigators into the darkest corners of his mind. Detectives began tracing every clue Marcus left behind. Hidden messages in his journals suggested meetings with another individual, someone who shared his obsession and possibly helped him evade capture during his crime spree. Surveillance footage from a nearby convenience store revealed a second man, whose face was partially obscured, lingering in the area during the week leading up to the Harper murders. Interviews with neighbors painted a chilling picture. Some had noticed a second man visiting Marcus, exchanging items, or just standing silently outside. Authorities were now dealing with the terrifying possibility that Marcus was part of a larger, more insidious plan. Psychologists analyzing Marcus's behavior argued that he had been grooming his potential accomplice for months, teaching him how to manipulate families, plan entry, and avoid detection. The journals revealed a meticulous hierarchy, Marcus as the planner, and another figure as the executor, though the identities and roles were unclear. Investigators realized that the true scope of Marcus's crimes might have been much larger than the Maplewood incident, and that a second predator could still be at large. Late one night, a forensic team discovered hidden compartments in Marcus's storage facility. Inside were photographs, digital files, and encrypted USB drives pointing to other planned attacks. Some files were coded in symbols Marcus had created, a language that only he and perhaps one other person understood. One file contained a video recording of Marcus speaking directly to the camera. "If you ever think you've caught everything, think again. There's more. They're still out there waiting." This revelation confirmed the investigators' worst fear. Marcus was not alone, and the network of potential harm extended beyond Maplewood. The Harper family was left devastated as authorities publicly disclosed the new evidence. Fear rippled through Maplewood. Parents kept their children indoors, schools increased security, and the once closed community now questioned everyone's intentions. Psychologists warned that the trauma could extend for generations if the hidden accomplice was never found. Local authorities launched a nationwide appeal for information, emphasizing that the threat could be ongoing. Families across the region were urged to remain vigilant. Who could Marcus's accomplice be? Was it someone he had groomed in plain sight? Could this network extend even further than investigators imagined? And what would it take to finally bring everyone involved to justice? Share your theories in the comments below. Some answers might be closer than you think. Then came a chilling break in the case. Investigators received an anonymous tip, a package left at a nearby abandoned warehouse. Inside they found a notebook, one that did not belong to Marcus. It contained detailed observations about the Harper children, other potential targets, and a timeline for future attacks. The handwriting was eerily similar to Marcus's, yet subtly different, suggesting someone had been learning from him, refining the plan, and perhaps preparing for a new series of horrors. Who is this mysterious figure? Could they be operating in secret right now, watching, planning, waiting for the perfect moment to strike? And most terrifying of all, is Marcus's influence far from over, even behind bars? Part 2 will uncover the identity of this shadowy accomplice, reveal shocking connections, and expose a network of danger that authorities are racing to dismantle. Subscribe now, hit the notification bell, and stay with us. The truth behind the Sleepover Murders is far more terrifying than anyone imagined.